lakinna huwa Allahu Rabbi wala ushriku bi Rabbi ahadan. Suratul-Kahfi, Surah number 18, ayat number 38. This verse can be interpreted in multiple ways, and we will try to make sense of all the ways. Lakin is simple, it means but something is attached to the word lakin. The word, it seems, so one way to interpret it is the word na is attached to it, so it becomes lakinna. It's pronounced lakinna because of the circle mark that you can see at the top of alif. So though lakinna is written, the word itself is lakinna. Anyway, so na attached to lakin, what would that mean? So for example, we will give you multiple examples because it's not a direct analogy with any of the examples. We'll have to interpret. For example, you know, fa'ala, fa'alna, he did, we did. Okay. For example, if we have khalaqa, is he created, khalaqahu, he created him, khalaqana, he created us. So we, us, both the terms have come now. Then let's see with kitabun, book, a book, kitabu, a book, kitabuhu, his book, kitabuna, our book. The word our is now coming. Now kitabu is an ism, so we, our, us, all of them are coming now. One last example is lahu, for him, lana, for us. So we have seen how the word we, our, us, all these can come. For example, similar to he, him, his, the equivalent would be, the equivalent of he would be we, him would be what would it be? It's an object, so us, and the equivalent of his would be our, right? So the first way to interpret this is lakinna, but us, not really but we or but our, but us. But this doesn't make much sense in the English language, in the free-flowing English. It doesn't make much sense. So how do we interpret this? Something similar to but as for us. But as for us, now it makes sense, right? Something like that. By the way, lakin can be treated as a harf, similar to lana, for us. So, but as for us, like that. Okay. Now, the other way is, I mean, the connotation of we have also explained. Now, but as far as we itself is not really required, because we is really an it's a subject, and lakin is not fa'ala. It's not fa'alna. It's not a verb. It's not a fail. So not really that. But even if we add that for understanding, okay. But as for us, he, Allah, is my Lord. But as for us, he is my Lord. Okay. Basically, what you're saying is, but as for us, we say he is my Lord. Now it begins to make more sense. So we say, so both the words we as well as say is missing. It's not there, but it can be sort of assumed to be implied to for a free-flowing running English translation. In the English language, if we insert these two words, it begins to make more sense. But in the Arabic language itself, the construct-wise is not there explicitly, but it can be sort of implied. That's what I'm trying to suggest. But as for us, we say. And then it can be similar to Qul Huwallahu Ahad, right? Similar structure. The Qul itself is not required, right? Wallahu Ahad is a good enough construct in the Arabic language. Now, where is this I coming from? The other way to interpret lakinna is, it's lakin plus ana. And you would say, how is that possible? I'll explain. Al-Ilah, the God. Allah, the proper name of the God in the Arabic language. It's much more than that, but I'm trying to make it easy for you. So the E, Hamza Kasra E, at the beginning of the word ilah is not required when you conjugate the two, when you combine the two. Al-Ilah, Allah. Similar, lakin plus ana, the Hamza Fatha, ana, part of the ana, the beginning, is not required. It becomes lakinna. And just like ana, we write ana, but we read it as, we pronounce it as, write it as ana, but we pronounce it as ana. The circle seems to suggest that as a viable translation and interpretation. I hope I have been able to make sense. But as for us, we say, or I say, so all these interpretations, how it comes about, I'm trying to explain. The translations, by the way, will not give you the details, and sometimes it's closer, sometimes it's not even close to the actual Arabic construct. Now this part, Huwallahu Rabbi, now this is a nominal sentence. There is no verb as such. How do we interpret this? It's similar to Huwallahu Ahad, and we are used to hearing that sentence being translated as He is Allah, the only one. But is that the sort of optimum way to translate? I say no. And who am I to suggest no? Because if that's the representative translation, who am I to alter that? I'll explain. Now, in a nominal sentence, there is a subject and there is an object, subject predicate, right? Predicate itself consists of the verb and the object. And in the English language, is substituted for the verb, because they think, the English people, it's in the English grammar that a sentence needs a verb. So when they don't have a proper verb, they treat it as acting like a verb, is auxiliary verb or whatever. Doesn't really matter. The terms do not really matter over here. So what is the subject over here? Huwa is he. And what about he? He, Rabbi. Huwa Rabbi is a proper sentence in the Arabic language. Huwa Rabbi is a valid sentence, construct in the Arabic language. He is my Lord. So he and my Lord, and the is inserted in between. Think of this part. Allahu Rabbi. Allah, Rabbi, my Lord. Allah is my Lord. So we are talking about Huwa, he, and talking something about it. What about him? He is my Lord. We're talking about Allah, and then we're talking something about Allah, that Allah is my Lord. So isn't Huwa and Allahu not referencing Allah? It is. So basically, instead of one word, there are two words, both of which are referencing Allah, but both of which essentially are acting as the subject. It's not the object. So you can't insert an is, you can, but that's not the optimal way to do or go about translating this verse. So he, Allah, is my Lord. Now, in English, it might sound a little bit odd. He, Allah, is my Lord. So it's for emphasis purpose. He, Allah, is my Lord. He, Allah, is my Lord. An exclamation mark. We have added an exclamation at the end of the sentence, and I'll explain that as well. How many exclamation marks can you insert? So that's what. Some of the things, some of the nuances which the Arabic language is able to capture, it's difficult to capture in other languages. So there are double exclamation marks in this sentence, but we don't do that in English. We have added once. But through the intonation, I'm trying to help you how or what the construct essentially implies. So till now, the translation becomes, the interpretation becomes, but as for us, we say, or I say, he, Allah, is my Lord, exclamation mark. Wa and ushriku. La is no. We will translate or insert the no at the appropriate place. Ushriku, I associate partners. I associate as partners. Bi Rabbi, with my Lord or with respect to my Lord, especially with respect to my Lord, because again, the verb and the ahadan is coming later and Bi Rabbi is prefixed. So emphasis is there, and exclamation is also implied because of that, especially also because of that. So all these, some of the things you are used to now, since we've gone through the previous 37 translations, the translation of 37 verses together. So anyway, and so ushriku is I associate as partners. Ahadan is anyone. That has to be preponed. I associate as partners anyone with my Lord. So I don't, la is there, right? And I don't associate anyone as partners, especially with respect to my Lord, exclamation mark. So exclamation mark is here for two reasons. At the beginning of the sentence, Wallahu Rabbi. So he, Allah, is my Lord. In fact, he, In fact, it is Allah who is my Lord. Something like that, that emphasis is coming about. So that is the translation. Now, when the translation is in front of us, it seems easy. But to interpret it, the provisioning, the possible interpretations because of the construct, because the construct allows so, it's interesting. So why is the ana valid? Ana is valid for multiple reasons. I give you the example, al-ilah, Allah. So lakin plus ana, lakinna. And especially more so because the circle at the top of alif indicates that it's not to be stretched. But normally the pattern itself suggests the na, so though we don't read it, normally we would, but we don't read it because of the presence of circle. So it sort of indicates both, and all of these are coming together. But as for us, we or I say. Now, when we are saying we say or I say, I've explained why the word we or I mean, I is there, but it's one possible way to interpret. But we itself is not there, unless you consider fa'alna, that allows for that. This word say itself is not there. It's implied. But otherwise, okay. But as for us, He, Allah is my Lord. But as for us, we say. But as for us, I say. Something similar. So if we were to, and the last point is we or I. What does it essentially mean? Is it we who are saying, or is it I who am saying? Both actually. I mean, both are correct. When we say we, the poor man is talking as a group, the group of Muslims. And what, a group of Muslims, what are they not supposed to do? They're not supposed to commit shirk. And if he say I, and if he says I say, so he says in refutation to what the rich man was saying, claiming that everything he has done is because of his own work. So this is the construct, beautiful sentence, beautiful way in which, and the scope of the construct itself allows for multiple ways to interpret. And it's such a beautiful, small, short ayah. But look at the profoundness. And when you can sort of, balagha, what is balagha? Balagha means when all these different interpretations are simultaneously possible and it enhances the meaning. I mean, that's one way to look at balagha, right? So that's it then. We will just read it once more and try to appreciate it. I'll try to give you the intonation when I'm reading out the translation to the best of my ability. Lakinna huwa Allahu Rabbi wala ushriku bi Rabbi ahadan. But as for us, we or I say, He, Allah, is my Lord, and I don't associate anyone as partners, especially with respect to my Lord.